Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Monday, the 28th of February. I'm Derek Clark. I'm joined this morning by Jonny McFarlane. How are we doing, Jonny?
Yeah, Derek, still trying to get over and get my head around what happened yesterday, as I'm sure all the guys watching and girls watching will be in the same boat, really. It was quite a remarkable game.
Yeah, it certainly was. Before we look at yesterday's events at Ibrox, folks, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, if you do that, you'll never miss a video when we go live. And also, if you want to take advantage of the Rangers Review site, we've got a terrific offer on just now, just £1 for 2 months worth of content. I'd urge you all to go and check it out. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. Okay, then let's get stuck in, Jonny. Rangers were presented with a golden opportunity to cut the lead at the top to a solitary point yesterday. As Celtic dropped points at Hibs, the feeling was one of optimism as supporters made their way into Ibrox, and it was strengthened when Rangers ran into a 2-goal lead at half-time. It could have been more. Alfredo Morelos with a header, it looked like it came off Beavis Mugabe last from a Ryan Kent cross ball. Kent then set up Sakala for the second goal. Rangers were on easy street. However, they came out for the second half, stopped playing pretty much. They looked jaded. Motherwell get a bit of encouragement with a tap-in from Jordan Roberts. And then Kane Woolery adds a second goal. His second goal at Ibrox this season for Motherwell. A defensive calamity for Rangers. So many mistakes in the build-up, not only from Alan McGregor, who's come in for some criticism. And the match ends 2-2. It's sort of same old at the moment, Jonny, at the moment with regards to Rangers, isn't it? Pick the bones out of that one.
Well, I think I wrote in my piece yesterday that this title race has been all about the unexpected. This season in general, you know, I would have put my mortgage on Celtic being nowhere near it this season. I would have put my mortgage on Dortmund putting Rangers out. This has been the kind of season that it's been. And at half-time yesterday, I'd have put my mortgage on Rangers going on and comfortably winning that game. But the second half, credit to Graham Alexander, you have to say that first and foremost, because the guy went in at half-time knowing his team had taken a shellacking, made 3 substitutions and made tactical changes that changed the game. So all credit to Motherwell for the way they went about that. It was a stark difference in the second half. But you have to say, Derek, both goals, terrible defensively. The first one, Alan McGregor's got to come out and claim that. John Lundstrom, I'm going to give a pass because Woolery is lightning quick. I mean, lightning quick. But I think Connor Golson was asleep at the back post as well. Second goal, where do you even begin? Golson and Tavernier both having a nightmare on that one. And then McGregor is just going straight through him. He stands up. That shot is saved. He lifts his leg up and the ball goes straight through him. So really, really disappointing. But listen, and I've written a piece this morning. I can't stress this enough. Yes, there is issues with the defence. Yes, that needs to be looked into. But mostly with the defence, it's individual errors. We saw that at Ross County. We saw that yesterday. It's not structural issues. Team not getting lots of chances. But what Rangers can't cope with at the moment is the fact that they've had 74 shots on goal in 3 games. 18 against Hibs, 28 against Dundee United, and 30 against Motherwell yesterday. And they've scored 5 goals. That's a conversion rate that is always going to come back to haunt you. Especially in a league race that's as tight as this. And I look at 28 games played so far, 28 games, Scottish Premiership, not the highest level in the world. Rangers top scorer is Alfredo Morelos with 12 and 28. Ryan Kent got 2. Fashion Sakala, 7. There's not enough killer instinct amongst those forward players for me. Those numbers are not good enough. Nobody's a bigger fan of Ryan Kent than me. I mean, I spent the last couple of weeks talking about how he could go to a higher level. No problem at all. I think Alfredo Morelos has been brilliant under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, and perhaps, you know, if you look at the numbers under him, it's actually a lot better. You know, it's the fact that Morelos had such poor numbers under Steve Gerrard. But overall, it's nowhere near enough, Derek. It's nowhere near enough. I'm interested in what the comments are on that, because fundamentally, if strikers are misfiring, you're always going to struggle.
Yeah, most definitely. I wanted to touch on, we'll touch on in terms of the strikers shortly, Johnny. You mentioned John Lundstram there. Maybe raised a few eyebrows to see him start the game alongside Connor Goldson at centre half with Leon Balogun on the bench. No Phil Hollander in the squad for Rangers. I thought first half he was calm and assured, composed. Rangers weren't put under any pressure. That 3 changes made at half-time. Motherwell obviously go and have a go. And it's I guess with hindsight, do you think that was the wrong move to stick him back there, John Lundstram, after his impressive displays in midfield?
Not really. Got to be honest. Leon Balogun can't play 2 games like that, one after another. He's been out for a long time. I remember at the start of his tenure, Gerrard talked about with injuries he's had over his career, he can't be playing 2-3 games in a week. Just not something he could do regularly. And up until the point that he was injured, he was kind of being asked to do that. And I think you have to be careful with a player of his age who's had the issues that he's had. So I totally understand. And Giovanni Van Bronckhorst said himself after the game, didn't he? He said, look, you know, Balogun wasn't ready for the game after playing in midweek. So then you ask about Helander. We don't know. It's as simple as that. You know, we get one question at the press conference after, and there was 5 questions. So there wasn't the opportunity to ask exactly what's happened with him. We know he's had his injury problems. We don't know if there's a setback or not there. But clearly it means that Rangers there's clearly some problem. And Rangers are short at centre-back. There's no doubt about that. And Lundstram, perhaps, to me, be a better option probably than Calvin Bassey, because if you have Calvin Bassey on that left flank, you know you're going to get a really, really good display out there, whereas Borna Barisic is having really bad form at the moment. It's a difficult one.
Yeah, not just at the moment. All season he's been poor. I think Borna Barisic, that's for sure. Calvin Bassey, one of the shining lights this season, I think, Johnny, there's no doubt about it. Alan McGregor, as we mentioned, coming in for a bit of criticism. You mentioned there, possibly he could have done better at the second goal. First also, perhaps. He was asked about this in the post-match press conference at the manager, if he was concerned with McGregor's form. He says, if we get a goal against us, it's not only Alan McGregor. It's very easy to say it's the fault of the goalkeeper. I think in the build-up, we didn't do technically well. We passed to players we never passed to when we're building up in this way. So it starts with the build-up. You defend as a team. I think Alan's a good goalkeeper, very experienced one. So I think it's very easy to put the blame on him because we conceded 2 goals today. I think he's getting it, the pass from John Lundstram to Calvin Bassey. I think they put him in a bit of trouble for Motherwell's first goal. But in terms of Alan McGregor, Johnny, there seems to be a growing number of voices wanting him replaced with John McLaughlin. Can you see that happening ahead of Wednesday night?
Personally, I think it should happen, Derek. Alan McGregor's been unbelievable. I don't think his place in Rangers history and in the pantheon of true greats of the club is in question. His name will be etched on that wooden board in the Marvel staircase, I'm quite sure, as a club legend in the years ahead. Arguably the greatest ever goalkeeper of the club. But he is 40, and for every player, there comes a stage where no matter how long you've been able to keep it going, there comes a stage where you just can't do it at the same level anymore. And I've seen it happen to other players where it's just like that at that age. You know, guys who have been performing miracles to keep going at a certain age, and then it just goes, and you just know. Davy Weir was an example of that. It felt like he could go on forever. And then in that first season under McCoist, it was just obvious that it was a season too far. Just plainly obvious. With McGregor, we've seen him just in the last few kind of months. We've seen him fluff a cross that's given Hearts a late equaliser.
Yeah,
we've seen him drop a cross to give Ross County an equaliser. We've seen him flap a ball at Ross County, and I mean yesterday, I just think the ball goes straight through him. It's not as bad a mistake as these three that I've mentioned previously, but I think you're wanting your keeper to save that, to be honest. It's the basics. If you stand up tall, the ball comes off your foot. Listen, I'm wary of being too critical of a goalkeeper when it's genuinely a topic that I don't know a lot about. I think there's a lot to be said for having proper goalkeeping analysis on shows like this. And I think it's a much more complex position than sometimes it's given credit for, and certainly in terms of coverage in the media from match of the day on downwards, goalkeepers probably don't get a fair shake. But as a layman, I just felt looking at it was one that he should have saved, and I'm sure a lot of people agree with that.
Yeah, he's no stranger to dropping big players. Van Bronckhorst, he did so when he was fired on manager when his captain Dirk Kuyt wasn't performing well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he put John McLaughlin in between the sticks on Wednesday night. I think, there is a growing number of calls now for Alan McGregor to be dropped. And it's like you say, John, it's sad to see, but I think his status amongst the Rangers legends of yesteryear is totally secure. For me, he's the best goalkeeper in the club's history. He surpasses Andy Gorham for me, just in terms of number of games and saves that he's made over a period of time. But I
don't agree with that, by the way. Obviously,
that's another debate. Then
absolutely don't agree with that at all. I think Andy, I said arguably when I was talking about the greatest goalkeeper, and I noticed Johnny and Knox has given me stick, and I just wanted to clarify. No, I definitely think Andy Goram's the best goalkeeper that Rangers have had. That's not even a question in my mind. There was a point when Andy Goram didn't make a mistake in like 2 years, and was unbelievable. So, I disagree with you there, Derek.
Yeah, well, let's agree to disagree. Let's move on then. A lot of people mentioning the absence of Aaron Ramsey in the matchday squad. Johnny also talk about Diallo not featuring yesterday as well. Rangers made 4 signings in January to help the club go on and win the league. None featured yesterday. Is that a concern for you?
Listen, I think it has to be. Aaron Ramsey at this stage, 28th of February, hasn't had any impact, let's be honest. And that's really disappointing. The signing was always going to be a bit of a roll of the dice given his injury history. And there's still time for him to come good, but it's increasingly difficult, really, given the amount of games that are left. So it's tough to make a case that's worked out. In terms of Diallo, you look at it, you think, we just need a right winger, £37 million, one of the most talented players in Europe in terms of for his age group. On paper, it just makes absolute sense. I think the issue with Diallo, for me, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I think physical profile, he's not particularly suited to the Scottish game. If you're throwing him in, as a loanee, does he have that same will to get kicked all over the pitch that he would if he was signing for Rangers for real? And there's no chance he's going to sign for Rangers for real. So, it's hard to make a case for the January transfer business at the moment, Derek. But listen, that's at the moment, and there has to be an understanding that football things can change very, very quickly. We're 28th of February, we're a month after the transfer window slammed shut. I think there's still time that they could prove to be good signings by the end of the season. But time is fast running out. And it's no surprise to me that there is opinion coming in that, Rangers haven't had a good transfer window there. That's plain. The problem, I'll tell you, I think the key thing for me, Derek, Gerrard did such a good job when he went out and got some of these players, Connor Goldson, Joe Aribo, Ryan Kent, Alfredo Morelos being already there, Ryan Jack already there. It's very, very difficult to replace these guys. You can't go out and get another Ryan Jack. You have to buy someone and develop him into a Ryan Jack, because Ryan Jack. What would be Ryan Jack without injury problems? What is he, a £10 million player? You know, probably. Ryan Kent, certainly more than that, maybe 15, 20 million to get Ryan Kent. So Rangers couldn't buy these players. They have to buy them when they're not as good as they are now and develop them into what they are now. So it's very difficult to go and get a player like that comes in and hits the ground running and becomes that player. That's really, really hard. And that's been the big challenge, I think, for Ross Wilson. Has he succeeded? Well, I'd argue that stat that was floating around in the last month or so, where only really Yanis Hadji has actually come in and made a decent amount of appearances in the last couple of years. I think that's quite a telling stat. You know, he was the only one that's kind of made a real tangible impact on the first team in terms of signings, and quite a number of the others just haven't really made any kind of significant sense of themselves while they've been at the club, which is obviously a problem and something that's going to have to be addressed in the summer, because I think most people agree there's going to be a significant rebuild of Rangers come June, July, August. Ryan Kent, Joe Aribo, Alfredo Morelos, Yanis Hadji, all in the final year of their contract. Some of those players are going to be sold. That goes without saying.
Yeah. So many comments coming in, folks. I'll try and get to a few more. Bojangles gets in touch. He seems to think that Stephen Davis should have been used in games like yesterday. Scott Arfield should have been rested. Looked a bit burned out. Can't say I disagree with Bojangles in regards to Scott Arfield. It looks like he's just been asked to go to the well too many times for me, Johnny, and looked a little bit off the pace yesterday.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally agree. I felt Arfield should have been off maybe after 60 minutes. I didn't think he played particularly badly. It was just that he shouldn't have been still on the pitch for me. Rangers have got a lot of good players there that haven't been used, that have been kind of bombed out a little bit, like Stephen Davis and people like that. You know, I feel like Gio could be using the squad a little bit better in terms of rotation, and that's something that he has to look at. 100% Arfield for me should have been off after 60 minutes. He was decent, but the last half an hour he wasn't really at it. And you know, if you brought on a Diallo at that point, I think he would have had much more of an impact, being able to run it Motherwell. But tactically, it was a difficult game because Motherwell had a stranglehold of the game, you know, up to the point that they got the equaliser. So it was maybe a stick or twist scenario, but at that point, I think there should have been changes made.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he was asked that again, the manager, in hindsight, would he make the changes earlier on? I think he really should have done. Kemar Roof came on, Johnny. He's another one that's sort of we've not seen much of lately. There's a piece on the website with regards to him this morning and his numbers this season. He's been way off it, of course, again, plagued by niggling injuries. But from the outset, it looks like he's not rated much at Rangers, and he could be another one on his way in the summer.
Well, that's the evidence that's in front of our face, isn't it? You know, he's not really being used very often, but I suppose he's not really performed when he's been used. I think in the piece that we've got on the website today, it details all the issues in terms of his numbers. So he's not taking enough shots. That's fundamental when he's playing. He just really isn't shooting very often. Against Annan, I think he had 6 shots with one on target, the one that he scored. But that was a complete outlier in terms of his numbers this season. And in the games he's playing, he's just not getting into the box enough, and that's something he needs to work on. He still feels like he's a player that is kind of in the Gerrard mode, where he's a hybrid, sort of number 9, number 10. Whereas what Giovanni Bronckhorst wants is an out-and-out number 9. That's obvious from the way he sets the play up. And Roof has to adapt to that, because Giovanni Van Bronckhorst won't change philosophy. Yeah. If he doesn't fit, then he'll be out. It's as simple as that. And Roof is obviously not a wide player. He's not a hug the touchline winger. He's not going to fit in there. He's not got the pace to do that. So he has to mould himself into that number 9 if he wants to stay at Rangers. Yeah, time will tell if he can do that or not. I would suggest to you, Derek, that he won't be able to. I don't think this is now a marriage made in heaven with Roof and Van Bronckhorst. I don't think he really suits the system.
No, me neither. Before we finish up, Johnny, there's been a few comments coming in with regards to the officiating yesterday. Rangers on Tour says, we're not trying to talk about it every game, but the ref was a disgrace yesterday. Don Robertson, of course, the man in charge. Van Bronckhorst wasn't too happy with some of the decisions that were going against his team. He said if there was VAR in operation, Rangers would have won the game. He was referencing Alfredo Morelos' goal that was his second one that was ruled out for offside. It was fractional, to say the least. But he said that one of the Motherwell goals was offside, a yard offside. What do you make of Don Robertson's performance as a whole, Johnny?
I've got to be honest, I wouldn't use it as an excuse.
No.
I think Rangers had more than enough to win the game. I feel for refs sometimes. You know, for example, I absolutely slaughtered Bobby Madden in the previous game because I thought his performance was shocking against Dundee United. This one, they're incredibly marginal, and it's an offside call by his officials. So it's not really it's not his fault, you know, these offsides.
Yeah.
I think the first one was offside, Derek. I think
yes.
very, very marginally offside. The second one, honestly, I don't know. It probably should, because it was so close, it probably should have been a goal. But
it's marginal.
I think it could be offside. It might not be offside. It's one of those that's very, very difficult to tell from the TV pictures that have been shown. So I wouldn't really blame the ref in terms of that game. But I've got to be honest, I've not really focused on it because I've been thinking more about the chances missed, about tactical changes that changed the game. So maybe if I watch the game again, Rangers on Tour, I might have a different opinion. But I really was focused on other elements of the game. In terms of that straight leg studs up challenge on Goldson, I don't even know what challenge that is. Sorry,
it was in the first half. Sorry, Goldson slipped slightly, and the boy effort caught him late. You could easily have been a red, Johnny. It's one of those. He loses his footing, and it's dangerous and reckless, and he gets a yellow card for it. But
I must have been looking down, typing something or something like that at that point. So I've missed that challenge, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like you, the referees are what they are in this country. They should be full time for a start. They shouldn't be shouldn't be part time. Top flight. If you want to take your league seriously, then they need to be focused fully on football. They get paid enough as it is. So it's high time to do so. So the sooner they sort that out, the better. Okay, that'll do us there. Yeah, VAR as well. Absolutely. Okay, that'll do us there. Thanks to everyone for getting in touch. Sorry if we couldn't get to your comments, but your interaction is very much appreciated. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss a video when we go live. And if you want to take advantage of the Rangers Review site, we've got a cracking deal on just now where it's only £1 for 2 months worth of content. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk. Okay, we'll be back again tomorrow, but until then, enjoy the rest of your Monday.